I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out.
What if everything you believed about who you are turned out to be a half-truth cloaked in years of royal secrecy? For decades, Prince Harry's unmistakable red hair became a conversation starter. First charming, then controversial. People whispered, speculated. Was he truly the son of King Charles III? Or was there another story behind his piercing eyes and fiery locks? As the years passed, those whispers snowballed into a storm of conspiracy theories. His mother, Princess Diana, was adored, yet surrounded by scandal. His father, King Charles, remained distant, and Harry, playful, bold, and undeniably different, stood out in a palace built on tradition. Was it just personality? Or was there something deeper encoded in his DNA? Then came the breaking point. Harry decided to uncover the truth himself. The result? Shocking, liberating, and for some, absolutely unthinkable. Today, we unravel the truth behind Prince Harry's journey of self-discovery, the DNA test that shattered decades of gossip, and the emotional aftermath of what he found. This is not just another royal story. It's the unraveling of a prince's identity, told on his own terms. And Prince Harry is left in shock after DNA results confirm the unthinkable. Why Prince Harry's red hair sparked royal paternity rumors. Prince Harry was born on September 15, 1984, as Charles Albert David, the second son of then Prince Charles and Princess Diana. From the start, the world was charmed by the spirited little prince, but also intrigued. His vibrant red hair stood out like a flare in a sea of Windsor browns and blondes. Neither Charles nor William had it. But Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, a redhead through and through. The Spencer family's strong redhead gene was well known. Diana's longtime hairdresser, Richard Dalton, even confirmed it had been passed down for generations. But that didn't stop the public from raising eyebrows. For many, Harry's coloring was more than genetics. It was a clue. And the whispers only got louder with time. As Harry matured, so did the speculation. His face, mannerisms, and even energy seemed misaligned with the traditional royal image. While Prince William grew into the serious heir, Harry was a charismatic rogue, athletic, playful, and spirited. And when he took up polo, a sport adored by royals, people couldn't help but draw a comparison to someone else, James Hewitt. James Hewitt, Diana's former riding instructor, was more than a passing figure in her life. Their 5-year romance began in 1986, 2 years after Harry's birth. But their undeniable connection, paired with Hewitt's red hair and similar features, triggered one of the most explosive royal theories of the 20th century. Was Hewitt Prince Harry's real father? The tabloids went wild. Side-by-side photos of Harry and Hewitt playing polo circulated relentlessly. They had the same posture, the same grin, even the same sporting style. Meanwhile, Harry looked increasingly less like Charles, especially in his profile and jawline. Both Diana and Hewitt denied the rumors. In 2002, Hewitt stated in the Sunday Mirror, "There's absolutely no possibility that I'm Harry's father." Ken Worf, Diana's trusted bodyguard, supported this timeline, saying, "Diana met James in the summer of 1986, long after Harry was born." Yet, the rumors persisted. And for Harry, growing up under such intense scrutiny was more than uncomfortable. It was destabilizing. He loved his mother deeply and admired her legacy. But his resemblance to Hewitt became a talking point he could never escape. Royal insiders like Paul Burrell tried to shut down the noise. He emphasized, "The red hair runs in the Spencer family. These are fabricated stories." But that didn't stop people from talking. It didn't stop Harry from wondering. The physical comparisons haunted him, and so did the emotional distance between him and his royal relatives. While William seemed effortlessly suited to royal life, Harry always felt like the outsider, the spare, as he would later call himself. With every year, the mystery of his identity deepened. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It became a personal quest, a need for clarity, and eventually a confrontation with truth. But before Prince Harry could get the answers, he'd have to walk away from the institution that raised him and the crown that shaped him. The James Hewitt affair, timeline, scandal, and DNA truths revealed. Princess Diana's relationship with James Hewitt has long cast a shadow over royal history, and for many, it became the lightning rod behind the rumors surrounding Prince Harry's paternity. But what really happened between Diana and Hewitt? And does the timeline support the speculation? The truth is surprisingly clear, though often drowned out by years of tabloid noise. In 1986, 2 years after Prince Harry was born, Diana met James Hewitt. He was hired as her horseback riding instructor, and their connection was instant. At first, their relationship was professional, bound by a shared love for horses. But as the pressures of Diana's failing marriage mounted, so did her emotional need for comfort, and Hewitt filled that space. What began as friendship grew into something far more intimate. Their affair lasted 5 years, a chapter of Diana's life she never denied. In fact, Hewitt himself would later say, "We didn't plan to fall in love. It just happened because of the circumstances." But despite the emotional connection they shared, the timeline is undeniable. Diana gave birth to Prince Harry in September 1984. She didn't meet Hewitt until the summer of 1986. That 2-year gap was enough for some to dismiss the rumors entirely. Yet others continued to argue otherwise, clinging to physical similarities, especially that signature red hair, as proof that something didn't add up. Photographs of Harry and Hewitt, especially ones of them both on horseback, only fueled the fire. The way they sat, smiled, even laughed, it all seemed too alike to ignore. But just as those images captivated tabloids, royal insiders fought hard to correct the narrative. Ken Worf, Diana's former bodyguard, was one of the first to publicly refute the speculation. He wrote, "Harry was born on the 15th of September 1984. Diana met James in the summer of 1986. His account was echoed by others close to the princess, including her personal staff, who recalled how deeply hurt she was by the rumors. In fact, Diana's own emotional reaction to the gossip reveals just how painful the ordeal had become. According to hairdresser Richard Dalton's memoir, Diana was devastated when tabloids began spinning headlines about Harry not being Charles's son. It broke her heart, one source revealed, noting how much she hated seeing Harry caught in the crossfire. Still, despite all the denials, the rumors refused to die. In the early 2000s, new headlines emerged claiming that DNA tests had been performed on strands of Harry's hair. The News of the World reportedly conducted these tests in 2003, and royal biographer Penny Junor later stated that the results showed no genetic link to James Hewitt. However, these tests were unofficial, lacked scientific rigor, and relied on technology that was not nearly as advanced as what we have today. Back then, genetic testing could only evaluate basic paternity markers, not the detailed ancestry mapping available through modern methods. As a result, even with alleged results in hand, questions lingered. The lack of full transparency and the sheer emotional toll of public speculation continued to weigh heavily on Prince Harry. For years, this cloud of uncertainty followed him. Even with strong evidence suggesting Charles was indeed his father, many couldn't let go of the idea that Diana's affair had produced a royal scandal of historic proportions. Eventually, it became too much for Harry to ignore. The speculation had crossed into obsession, and the only way forward was to pursue a definitive answer, not for the public, but for himself. What came next would change everything. Modern DNA testing reveals the truth about Prince Harry's real father. After decades of whispers, suspicion, and public curiosity, Prince Harry finally reached the point where speculation was no longer tolerable. The constant rumors about his paternity, fueled by tabloid headlines, online debates, and side-by-side photo comparisons, had followed him for most of his life. But now, armed with advances in genetic science and a desire to reclaim his narrative, Harry made the bold decision to pursue a comprehensive modern DNA test. This wasn't like the crude testing allegedly conducted in 2003 by the News of the World. Those early reports were marred by questionable methods and inconclusive science. In those days, testing was limited to basic paternity markers, lacking the depth and accuracy now available with current genetic tools. Even when sources like royal biographer Penny Junor referenced hair sample results that showed no match with James Hewitt, many dismissed the findings as tabloid noise. Harry wanted more than rumors and fragments. He needed clarity and closure. With cutting-edge technology now capable of mapping deep ancestral traits, multi-generational DNA markers, and even regional gene clusters, Prince Harry's modern testing would finally deliver answers that previous generations of royals could never access. The results? James Hewitt was definitively ruled out. There was no genetic match whatsoever between Harry and the man long thought to be his potential biological father. The speculation that had hung over Harry's head since childhood was, at last, put to rest. The test confirmed what Princess Diana had always maintained. Harry was the biological son of Charles, now King Charles III. That striking red hair? It was simply the resurgence of the Spencer family gene pool. Diana's brother Charles Spencer had the same fiery hue in his youth, and Harry's freckles and wide smile were hallmarks of the Spencer lineage. In many ways, this was a vindication, not just for Harry, but for his mother as well. Throughout her life, Diana had faced cruel insinuations and public scrutiny over her private life. The idea that one of her sons might be born of infidelity was deeply painful to her, and she had always refuted it. The DNA results proved her right. Yet for Harry, this definitive answer didn't offer the healing some might have expected. In fact, it prompted even deeper reflection. If King Charles was indeed his biological father, then why had he always felt so alien within the royal family? Why had he never quite fit the mold expected of a Windsor prince? These were the questions that lingered, because although genetics had spoken, identity isn't always written in blood. In his memoir Spare, Harry explores his struggle to belong. He writes of feeling like the spare rather than the heir, of existing in his brother William's shadow, and of never truly feeling understood within palace walls. Even with the DNA result affirming his royal blood, that sense of displacement remained. Still, one truth had emerged from the fog of royal scandal. Prince Harry was, and always had been, the son of King Charles III. The resemblance to James Hewitt had been a visual coincidence. The affair, while real, had no bearing on Harry's birth. The red hair, the different personality, the questioning spirit, all of it now took on a new shape. They weren't evidence of infidelity, they were evidence of individuality. But this resolution came with consequences. Because now that the truth was known, Prince Harry had a new decision to make. Would he lean into his royal bloodline, or walk away from the institution altogether? Prince Harry cuts ties with the royal family after DNA revelation. The DNA results were conclusive. Prince Harry was, without question, the son of King Charles III. The years of doubt, the gossip columns, and the endless conspiracy theories were silenced in one clinical report. But instead of bringing Harry closer to the institution that raised him, the truth only widened the emotional distance. Why? Because the test may have resolved the biological questions, but it couldn't erase the emotional scars. From childhood, Harry had struggled with a sense of being the outsider, the spare, as he famously titled his memoir. And as he got older, his differences only became more pronounced. He was the more spirited one, the one who laughed louder, played harder, and broke more rules. Where his brother William embraced tradition and duty, Harry often seemed burdened by it. Still, the family remained intact, until Meghan Markle entered the picture. The American actress, biracial, divorced, and fiercely independent, was everything the monarchy was not. When Harry married her, it seemed like a chance to build a modern royal future. But instead, the cracks deepened. Meghan was never fully embraced by the royal establishment. Her presence stirred unspoken discomfort, and public comparisons to Kate Middleton only heightened the tension. Harry noticed it all, and he didn't forget. In a revealing interview, Meghan confessed that the coldness of royal life pushed her into a deep depression. "I didn't want to be alive anymore," she said tearfully, in a clip that shook the world. The pressure, the judgment, and the isolation nearly drove her to walk away. Not just from the firm, but from Harry himself. According to sources, Meghan seriously considered divorcing him and leaving the UK altogether. She didn't believe love alone could withstand what they were up against. That moment became a turning point. It wasn't just about Harry anymore. It was about protecting the woman he loved and the future they were building together. The DNA test gave him answers, yes, but it also gave him clarity. He now knew who his father was, but he also recognized that blood alone doesn't define family. In a private conversation with friends in California, Harry reportedly said, "Being related by blood doesn't necessarily make someone family." It was a profound statement, underscoring the truth he had come to live, that love, support, and acceptance matter more than royal lineage. With that realization, Harry made a seismic decision. He renounced his senior royal duties, stepped away from the palace spotlight, and moved with Meghan and their children to the United States. The couple settled in California, far from Buckingham Palace, where the expectations were suffocating and the scrutiny relentless. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, now live a life that's ordinary in many ways, yet extraordinary in how deliberately it's been chosen. Lilibet's name, a tribute to both Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana, reflects the complicated balance Harry tries to maintain between love for his family and the pain of his past. Harry's departure wasn't a bitter outburst. It was a conscious act of preservation. The DNA results confirmed his royal blood, but they also confirmed his truth. He would never truly belong to the institution. And that was okay. What mattered more was carving a space where his family could be safe, happy, and free. He didn't just walk away from the royal family. He walked towards something else, a life of his own making. Prince Harry's life in America and the future of the monarchy. Once upon a time, Prince Harry was one of the most beloved royals in the world, the charming red-haired boy who grew up under the watchful eye of the public. But today, he lives far from Buckingham Palace in sunny California, not as a royal, but as a man who finally chose to live on his own terms. And that choice didn't just alter his life. It challenged the entire perception of what it means to be a royal in the 21st century. The release of his DNA test results confirming that King Charles III is his biological father was expected to be a moment of closure. For some, it was. But for Harry, it became a moment of awakening. If he was indeed a legitimate royal by blood, why had he never felt at home within the monarchy? In California, Prince Harry found something the palace never gave him: peace. He now lives in Montecito with Meghan Markle and their two children, Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana. Far from the rigid expectations of royal life, the couple has crafted a reality that values authenticity over appearance, intimacy over protocol, and mental health over public perception. Reports suggest the family enjoys a much more relaxed and joyful life. Meghan is involved in advocacy and storytelling projects, while Harry focuses on mental health awareness and veteran support, causes he's deeply passionate about. Their household includes several dogs, and they've been spotted hiking, grocery shopping, even grabbing coffee. Things they could never do in the UK without a swarm of cameras. But their physical distance from the UK is more than a geographic move. It's a symbol. A symbol that a prince doesn't need a crown to carry purpose. Still, Harry's past is never too far behind. His daughter's name, Lilibet Diana, is a nod to both his grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, who was affectionately called Lilibet, and his mother Diana, whose tragic death marked the turning point of his young life. It's a name woven with heritage, love, and loss. A quiet declaration that he hasn't abandoned his roots, only reframed them. And yet, even as he lives as a private citizen, Harry remains a figure of global fascination. Every move he makes, every word he speaks, is dissected and analyzed. The monarchy, once seen as unshakable, now feels vulnerable. The departures of Harry and Meghan and the reasons behind them have exposed deeper cracks in the foundation of royal tradition. Will the British monarchy survive in its current form? That's a question that even Harry may wonder about. Through interviews, documentaries, and his memoir Spare, he's made it clear that the royal family needs to evolve, to modernize, humanize, and embrace emotional honesty. He's no longer just the spare, he's the catalyst for a cultural shift. Prince Harry's story is no longer about paternity, it's about identity. About finding belongingness, not in a palace, but in the people who love you unconditionally. He didn't set out to burn bridges. But when those bridges no longer led to peace, he chose to build new ones elsewhere. Ones that lead to personal truth, love, and freedom. Royal secrets, shocking history, and Prince Harry's mysterious message. As Prince Harry settled into his new life in California, far removed from the constraints of royal protocol, he still couldn't shake the feeling that his journey wasn't over. Yes, the DNA test had confirmed that King Charles III was his biological father. Yes, he had found peace with Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet. But there were still unanswered questions. Questions that had less to do with science and more to do with legacy. And then, one day, a mysterious package arrived. Inside was a stack of vintage newspaper clippings, stories dating back decades, each one documenting a different scandal linked to the royal family. Affairs, secret children, cover-ups. There were headlines about King Edward VII's long list of mistresses, whispers of illegitimate heirs from King George V's era, and rumors about entire family branches scrubbed from public records. Alongside the bundle of articles was a note, anonymous, typed and chilling in its simplicity. It says, "The truth exists, Prince Harry. The question is, are you ready to face it?" Harry froze. Who sent it? And why now? It was as if the shadows of royal history had reached across oceans to pull him back into a world he thought he had left behind. But this time, it wasn't just about him. It was about centuries of secrets buried under jewels and crowns. The deeper Harry dug, the more he realized the monarchy had always walked a tightrope between tradition and scandal. His great-great-grandfather, King Edward VII, was known for his love of extravagance and extramarital affairs, earning him the nickname Dirty Birdie. His son, King George V, was rumored to have fathered children outside his marriage. Even King Charles II, centuries earlier, had acknowledged multiple illegitimate children, while controversially ignoring his lawful successors. These revelations painted a clear picture. Harry wasn't just a rogue royal. He was part of a long lineage where truth was often hidden, rebranded, or forgotten altogether. The scandals weren't new, they were generational. And suddenly, the decades of gossip about Harry's own paternity didn't feel so far-fetched anymore. They were just the latest chapter in an age-old saga of doubt, betrayal, and royal image control. What made it worse was knowing how this history affected his mother, Diana. During her life, she had fought to protect her sons from the machinery of the palace, revealing in interviews that she felt isolated and emotionally manipulated. The rumors about Harry's parentage weren't just gossip to her, they were wounds. Harry now saw how the monarchy had often valued appearance over authenticity, control over compassion. And he realized that the scrutiny he endured, the whispers he grew up hearing, were part of a deeper pattern. That realization was both liberating and terrifying. Because if he truly wanted to forge a new legacy, it meant cutting ties not just with the palace, but with the myths and illusions that propped it up. Harry didn't share who sent the package. Maybe it was someone close to the family. Maybe it was a historian or royal staff member. Maybe it was someone who, like him, wanted the truth to come to light. But it was clear that the message it carried struck a chord. He was ready to break the cycle. He had already rejected the title. He had already walked away from the palace. Now, He was walking toward a future not defined by secrets, but by transparency. Prince Harry's story is no longer about being the spare. It's about becoming the first in his bloodline to choose clarity over conformity, authenticity over ancestry. The question now is, can the rest of the monarchy do the same? Prince Harry's journey from palace walls to personal freedom wasn't just a scandal, it was a revolution. One that unfolded in real time, with every headline, every whisper, and every unanswered question pulling him deeper into the shadows of royal history. But what set him apart from every royal before him wasn't his bloodline. It was his courage to ask the questions no one else dared to. By choosing to undergo DNA testing and reveal the unvarnished truth, Harry didn't just confirm that King Charles III was his biological father. He also shattered generations of silence. In doing so, he gave voice to the unspoken doubts and personal battles that many within the royal family have long endured behind gilded gates. And as he stepped away from the only world he had ever known, he did something extraordinary. He rewrote his own destiny. Now living in California with Meghan Markle and their children, Prince Harry is not just a royal exile. He's a symbol of freedom, resilience, and truth in an institution built on secrecy. So what happens next? That depends on whether the royal family learns from his path or repeats its history. If you found this story as powerful as we did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the next video on your screen for more deep dives into royal mysteries, untold truths, and historic revelations. Because in this royal saga, the truth isn't just dramatic, it's transformative. Thanks for watching and see you next time.